Balls are back.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, could be Wayne!
I think I got my swagger back. Oh!
I love it, baby!
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins! Out by Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes
We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now. You found a way, okay? All right, now, what I tell you, okay? All right, this decade is going to be the decade of the Vols. You got me?
Reddit did to do, and welcome into more important issues. It is Sunday, August 9th. Football. We got the schedule. Now we just got to start.
We at least got the names of.
Yeah, I guess we haven't gotten the schedule yet.
Right.
When is that supposed to happen?
It should be this week.
Okay. All right. So
Allegedly.
allegedly, I saw somebody post on Facebook. I don't know, and this is the other night, and it looked like it had us playing Arkansas first and Georgia second, and it looked like it was like pulled off like Google or something. But that obviously hadn't been released. And I know we joked about how we'd probably end up getting Georgia early on this year, so it felt right. It felt right.
I 100% believe there's going to be it's going to be a gauntlet. It's going to be like Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Texas A&M, Auburn, like all like back to back.
Right. I'm sure that's the way it'll be because that's the way it goes. Tennessee. You know what? I know you're not a fan of the schedule, and nobody is, and it's hard to be a fan of it. But you also knew Tennessee already was playing Arkansas or playing Arkansas. Alabama was always on the schedule. It's not going to get much easier than Arkansas. Like, you weren't going to get gifted a Power 5. Mm-hmm. Or Power 5, new two teams from the West. You had Mississippi State last year. You knew that was probably not going to happen. You're supposed to have Ole Miss next year. And when you found out it wasn't going to be the next two teams, figured it wasn't going to be Ole Miss. So that leaves A&M, LSU, Auburn, and is that it? I'm forgetting somebody else. No, I guess that's it. So you knew you were going to get one of those teams. So I don't know. It's not the worst case in the world. Hey, you didn't get LSU. That's the good news.
Right. Yeah, that's I guess that's the one positive. And it's the SEC. Like, no game is going to be easy besides probably Vanderbilt and Arkansas. That's probably about it. But I think these two games, they're both winnable. It's going to be tough to win those two games because, I mean, if we're just looking off history and where the programs are at, yeah, Texas A&M and Auburn are going to be favorited against Tennessee. But I don't think it's necessarily going to be a surprise if Tennessee wins one or two of those games.
No. We'll talk all about that prediction, and we'll get into this 10-game SEC schedule that we are praying happens. Everything that's happened in the last 24 hours is not looking good. We've already got some people in on YouTube. What's up, Justin? Kevin, no, this isn't Catfishing Billy. I'm sorry to disappoint. But let's talk some football. Let's talk some college football. Right before we got on, it was I haven't read the article yet, but I guess there was a Power 5 meeting today with the NCAA.
Yeah, like an emergency meeting.
And it looks like, of course, the Big Ten and Pac-12 are ready to cancel, and the other conferences kind of want to go into a wait-and-see mode, which I feel like is what's the final date that you have to cancel?
I would say it's like the day before the first game.
Wouldn't you? Because you've already got your contingency plans in place. You've got the game set to go. If you don't have there's not going to be a ton of travel involved, I guess. It's not cross-country travel, for most teams. I guess West Virginia's playing teams cross-country, but because they're in a stupid conference. Yeah, what's the date?
I think our big thing when this first all happened is like, and we didn't know it was going to be to the extent of what it ended up being.
Right.
But we were kind of mad that they were just like, oh yeah, everything's canceled. We're like, just what hurts you in pushing it back?
Right, moving things back. Yeah, they've already got it moved back to most conferences are starting. I think at the earliest like September Fifth? Is it
Yeah, I
fifth?
think so.
Okay, so some of them are
Or I
coming
think
up.
the third, because I think the Big Ten is supposed to start like that weekend is supposed
Gotcha.
to be the start.
So some of them are getting into crunch time. Some
And then I think
conferences.
some are still slated for August 29th.
Okay, so yeah, some teams are getting into crunch time.
Yep.
Oklahoma is gonna have a little, their start dates pushed back a little bit. They're sending players home this week, or allowing players to go home this week. I think UTEP, who I'm surprised some of those smaller conferences are still having their season, because you saw them. We'll get into the MAC canceling, but UTEP just delayed their start of their camp because 4 players tested positive. They announced that right before we started the show. It's going to be interesting. It's time to make decisions. I hope they're patient. You're going to have kids coming back to campus. If you haven't entirely delayed kids coming back to campus, why are you canceling the football season?
I agree.
If they start telling kids not to come to campus, yeah, I understand looking at that. But if you have 20,000 kids coming back to your campus, there's no reason you should be canceling football.
No.
So we'll see what happens. I mean,
Wasn't today like move-in day for Tennessee? Like for students?
that'd be pretty. Was it? I feel like that'd be pretty early.
I'm pretty sure it was this weekend. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure
Well.
some kids were moving in.
Maybe they've gone and I don't know that, but if I was guessing,
staggered.
yeah, if they did, maybe they staggered it to have, because when you have move-in day, you're bringing in, it's not just the students, it's parents and
Yeah,
friends.
maybe
and
it's
family.
over a couple weekends, but I think people started moving in this weekend.
Yeah, so if you're bringing kids to college campuses, there's no reason to be canceling the football season right now. And I'm not saying that means there should be fans in the stands or whatever, but if you should allow them to play, and I know some people are like, I don't want to watch it if there's no fans, but no, I will gladly watch it, and they should be allowed to play if they want to, if they're going to bring the kids to campus. And I know a lot of college athletes right now, and I think a lot of the disconnect is a lot of people think there's players that don't want the season to happen. I don't think that's the case. I think there's players that want to make sure that they're going about it as safe as possible.
Yeah, I think schools and, and conferences are just nervous because, I mean, they're liable for that. Like,
Yeah.
if something were to happen, I mean, I hope it doesn't, and knock on wood it doesn't. But if one kid, gets it and ends up passing away, that's on them.
Yeah,
and yeah, it's just, I mean, one kid, like that's
If you lost one kid,
you could risk one kid's life.
if you, I think everyone can agree, and I'm not talking about statistics. I'm not talking about. I think everyone should be able to agree that if you lost one kid because you're playing college football, like that's too many.
Yeah,
if that's the reason. And
Absolutely.
obviously, I realize there's been casualties. I mean, when you talk about the travel that's required in college football, when you talk about the CTE that happens in college football, I realize that. But I think everyone would, and that's why a lot of these, like the CTE things, need to be addressed. So I think there needs to be, and there's so many unknowns that are happening right now with the COVID, with like what's going on with the pandemic in terms of COVID, that there's so many unknowns. It's hard to necessarily address all of the issues going on. There's a lot of stuff, health, like just not necessarily how sick they are from it, but how it affects their body after they've had it. A lot of health questions happening going on around it. So I think there's conferences that are willing to do anything to make it happen.
I think that's
And then-
the SEC. I think
yeah.
if conferences are going to start canceling their season, I think SEC will be one of the last ones. to
I
do so.
agree. But I think there's conferences like the SEC who have kind of been very adamant they are going to do anything to make it happen.
Yep.
And then there's conferences like the Big Ten and Pac-12 that seem adamant, like we'll do anything to get out of this season.
Mm-hmm.
That's the position it seems to me. Oreo Puppy Dog, love the name. Are we going to have a season? That's kind of what we're discussing right now. You will not see every Power 5 conference playing this season. I can almost guarantee that.
Yep.
I think the SEC will try to start. Whether it gets all the way through it, I don't know. That's a really, really good question. And I don't think anybody can truly say yes or no, because if things get worse at the turn of at the drop of a hat, they have no choice.
Mm-hmm.
They don't.
Yeah, I don't know.
Start,
I don't know
baby.
what you do. I mean,
Delay-
if you're letting them practice, I don't really. I know there's more stuff involved with playing, but if they're allowed to be on campus with students,
They should be playing.
they should allow them to play.
Yep.
If they can go eat in a restaurant with other people, then they can play college football. Sorry,
agree.
that's the way I think of it.
I mean, I agree, and you've already put some safeguards in place in terms of players opting out.
Mm-hmm.
Like they are allowed you have to honor their scholarships.
Yeah.
So there are some safeguards to protect the people, the individuals who don't feel it's safe to play.
Absolutely.
And that's a choice. And I think the teams that, offer them that scholarship should be, held responsible for honoring it, because this is different times. Like an unprecedented event is happening.
Yeah, and I think the more people that the negativity is what is, it's kind of getting people on edge, I feel like.
Right.
Whereas if there was more positivity, I feel like there'd be, more of that. You'd see more of that on social media and stuff like that. I think Trevor Lawrence came out today, we want to play.
Yeah.
He's kind of been adamant about that. The past couple weeks, it's been players opting out, moving back games, moving back schedules, just making it conference only. There's been some negativity, in regards to if we're going to play college football.
Yep.
But if there's more players, getting out there, hey, we want to play, I think that's going to help the situation.
Yeah, there were several players today, several big-name players from different programs, not just Clemson.
I think Ryan Helinski, I saw that one. I think Justin Fields was another one.
Someone from Penn State, I can't remember who. But more people are coming out and saying they want the season. So I think you're going to see more student-athletes follow suit, and potentially more coaches.
Yeah.
Coaches are in a little bit different position because of, they're obviously getting paid to do what they do. Right. But I think you'll see more players doing it, and that'll, like you said, I think that'll change a little bit of the mindset. There still are a lot of questions to answer, but I think it'll change. I think I'm with you. I think the mindset, because I think a lot of people think the public's view, and I'm not saying, I'm sure a little bit has to do with what the media has made it seem to be, but the public's view is that the players don't necessarily want to play, but the players want to play more than anybody.
Right.
So that I think I agree with you. More positive outlook is going to change a lot of the feeling around the season.
Right.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and jump into the schedule though, and talk about. Let's first talk about Tennessee, and then I want to talk about the whole SEC, because some teams just got royally butt effed with the schedule.
Right. Do you want to talk about our giveaway?
Oh yes, I'm so glad you reminded me. I don't know how I forgot.
So guys, go check out our sponsors at Hound Dogs and Tennessee Tap House. Really appreciate them making this show possible. And then we have a giveaway to do.
We're doing a giveaway.
We're going to check the comments. Caleb's on YouTube, Twitter. I'm on Facebook. We're actually going to give a random giveaway. So get in the comments, like and share this. And then if you comment GBO, you'll be entered in to win.
What does that mean, Landon?
Go Big Orange.
Go Big Orange.
So go do that. And you will be entered in to win a gift certificate to the Volunteer Roadshow store on volunteerroadshow.com. And then we'll tell you how to do that at the very end. You're going to send an email. You'll type more important issues and then your contact information, and they will get in touch with you on how you can redeem that gift card.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And
GBO.
Go ahead and comment GBO, and you'll immediately be entered for that giveaway. So make sure you do that.
Do it.
So we're about to talk about the SEC schedule. I'll go ahead, and Brian Taft looks like an Alabama fan, judging by his avatar. He's already said, we got a good draw of two teams. Yeah, Alabama did.
Yeah, you did.
To be fair, though, Alabama was going to get and I'm not saying just because the SEC is obviously going to help Alabama. Mm-hmm. What two teams? They're already playing Georgia and then Tennessee, so that's two of the top three teams most people would pick to finish top three in the East. Right. So, you weren't going to get a bad draw, to be fair, about their schedule. But, yeah, I mean, obviously that's a pretty much dream scenario. Missouri and Vandy, is that right?
Missouri and Kentucky.
Yep. Which, that's, that Kentucky at least, I think Kentucky could at least give them a run more than most teams.
Yeah, maybe a quarter.
More than Vandy. They'd probably give them a better run than Missouri.
Oh, yeah.
They would have given them a better run than Vandy. Probably South Carolina.
A lot of people are high on Kentucky this year.
I know.
We'll see.
I doubt it. I mean, I doubt it personally. But
yeah, I hope they're terrible.
Right.
That'd be nice. I just think with this schedule, it just shows you the SEC is about money.
Oh, yeah.
And wanting to get teams in the college football playoff. They want two teams in the college football playoff, so they gave the teams who were already contenders, they gave them an easier path, I feel like.
Did they? So let's look at Tennessee's schedule first in terms of who they have.
Okay.
So we were gonna play Alabama and Arkansas already there. Mm-hmm. That was already on the schedule. Alabama's your non-rotating, Arkansas was your rotating for 2020. You add A&M and Auburn. Your A&M will travel to Tennessee. Tennessee will travel to Auburn. I mean, I don't hate it. Could you have gotten better than that, really?
Yeah, I just hate that, it was going to be, I feel like it was going to be the next two on the schedule, and then Alabama and Florida apparently cried about it, and then they got protected by it. they cried about it and like complained. It was like, hey, this isn't right. And then they are the ones that, it favored at the end of the day.
And you knew it was going to favor Alabama.
Right, yeah.
Should be 100%
I mean, yeah, it's there's a reason why the SEC office is in Birmingham.
Right. But yeah, the Tennessee schedule, I know a lot of people are like, I hate it. It's dumb. I just don't really get how it could be better per se. You add Ole Miss, that's probably it. You probably weren't going to add them once they announced those two, wasn't going to be the next two.
Yeah, I think you're going to add Auburn to Texas A&M or maybe LSU, but I think it would have been great to get a Mississippi team.
I agree. But we've gotten lucky the last few years in our rotating opponent where we've had Mississippi State, Arkansas, who's this year. You're going to have Ole Miss the next three. You had the three easiest teams in the West. You were kind of screwed from the get-go, and you knew that. Because I don't know if they were going to do the next two. Because the problem with doing the next two is you have to turn around and play those teams again with no fans in the stands. You have to, I feel like.
What sucks is, like, you have to play 5 teams in the top 13 in the country.
Oh, yeah. That
sucks. And I think the only other team that has to do that, Arkansas. Arkansas got screwed. Way worse than Tennessee.
Arkansas got they looked at Arkansas and they're like, you're the worst team in the SEC, and we're going to keep it that way.
Yeah. So they have to play 6 teams in the top 13 in the country.
I need someone to explain to me how you look at Arkansas' schedule and go, all right, they have Tennessee, and then they play in the West. They have Tennessee and Missouri. They don't have all the top teams in the East. Add those teams.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
I have no clue.
It's amazing to me.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to, I think they just protected Florida, Georgia, Alabama, LSU. Because Tennessee them and South Carolina are the only teams that play 3 out of the top 4 teams in the opposite division.
Yeah.
So we play Texas A&M, Auburn, Alabama.
Right.
Who
are you looking for?
South Carolina plays Texas A&M, LSU, and Auburn.
Yeah, they don't have a friendly schedule.
LSU plays Florida.
Right.
They'll play one opponent in the top 4 in the East, and that's Florida. Don't play Georgia. Don't play Tennessee. I would consider Kentucky probably the 4th.
Right now, today, I would consider Kentucky the 4th.
Yeah, and they don't have to play Kentucky. So there's a South Carolina, Florida, Missouri, and Vanderbilt. I'm like...
The West teams were kind of in luck, though. Like, what were you really going to add to make your schedule difficult?
Right.
Now, the only team, like, if you have Florida...
except for Arkansas.
Except for Arkansas. That's the only team that got just, in my opinion, got royally screwed.
Yep. And Texas A&M, I feel like their opponents that they added were Florida and Tennessee. That's rough. But the teams you were playing, you had Vanderbilt and South Carolina. So who else were you going to
kind of goes back to my Tennessee point, though,
yeah.
where we've gotten lucky looking at the teams we played the last 3 years in Mississippi State, or in this clump of 3 years, Mississippi State, Arkansas, Ole Miss. But then when 2020 comes around and you have to you go to a 10-game schedule because of the pandemic, and then you get royally screwed because you've gotten lucky the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get lucky the next couple of years.
I just hate, like, you want to keep gaining ground on Florida and Georgia.
Yep.
And because you have Arkansas this year, so you're like, okay, we have to play Alabama, but hey, we get Arkansas this year. Georgia has to play Alabama and Auburn, and Florida has to play LSU and Ole Miss. And then Florida gets Arkansas and Texas A&M, and Georgia gets Arkansas and Ole Miss.
Yeah, I
or Mississippi State. Sorry.
I will say this looking at Tennessee's schedule. Again, I'm not saying that A&M and Auburn are easy teams, but those are probably the 2 most overrated teams in the West.
Who's
A&M and Auburn are probably the 2 most overrated teams.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're bad. They're not bad. It's going to be tough games.
Yeah, they're top 13 right now. Do I think they'll be there when maybe Tennessee plays them?
Auburn
unless it's at the first. Yeah, maybe Auburn, but I don't think both of those teams will be in the top 13.
I don't think A&M will be really anywhere close. I'm not very high on them. I'll be shocked if they have a great season.
I mean, they're always a team that like are picked high and just never, for whatever reason, because when they join the SEC, you're like, oh man, they're in Texas. That's a hotbed for talent. Then they get Jimbo Fisher. Oh man, they're going to be good, and they just haven't.
No, they've definitely been underwhelming. I don't know.
They just can't pass Auburn, LSU, and Alabama.
Being in the West is tough for them. Yeah, it's tough, and they have not proven that they can go through the grind of that schedule yet. Obviously they've upset some teams here and there throughout since they've been in the SEC since 2012. But yeah, it's not been consistent. Just you've seen LSU do it, Auburn do it, and Alabama do it for a full season. They each have national championships since 2012. You have not seen A&M do it, who has probably had just about as every bit of talent as them, but just haven't been able to stick with this. Maybe they don't have the depth as far as talent goes, but when you look at the starters, they probably had equal level talent to LSU, Auburn, and just haven't been able to do what those teams have done in an SEC schedule.
Yep.
Obviously not. The talent of LSU, golly, that 2019 team
was insane.
Yeah, that's a different story.
Like, how did they get by? So how did they add Missouri and Vanderbilt when they were playing South Carolina and Florida?
LSU?
Yeah. Again, it's protecting Georgia and LSU. Like, they didn't get.
I need to now go look at the strength of schedule. It's obviously a strength of schedule. But again, I didn't know how they would do that. I didn't know how that would possibly work. How do you do strength of schedule when you don't know?
I think it just went of like you're rotating and non-rotating, and then they just added the two based off those two.
Okay.
That's what it looks like to me when I was kind of doing the math.
But Tennessee then should have gotten. Well, we already had Arkansas. God, see, that's what screwed us is having Arkansas this year.
Right. Yeah. So we were gonna get a Texas A&M or Auburn, and then I thought maybe we could have got a Mississippi State.
I feel like that's. But again, do you play Mississippi State 2 years in a row? A lot of people thought no, and that's fine. Whatever.
See, they didn't give South Carolina, so they gave South Carolina Ole Miss instead of us because they already played. They were playing LSU and Texas A&M already.
Right.
So yeah, we got screwed because we played Arkansas.
Golly, man.
If we were playing Mississippi State, we'd probably get Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Yeah, since we're playing Arkansas.
And did they completely stay away? I don't know all the other rotating opponents. Like, did they completely stay away from the next 2 years? Like, was that not an option at all?
Apparently, it was the option.
Well, no, that's not what I'm asking.
Oh, okay.
That's not what I'm asking. Like, did they, when they made this schedule, did they take away? So they were not going to put Ole Miss and LSU on Tennessee's schedule. They were not going to put Alabama and whoever Florida played the next year after that on their schedule. Like, did they decide they were going to completely stay away from that?
I don't know how.
Because if it was completely random, you couldn't possibly commit to completely staying away from that.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how that's what it looks like to me. They just took the two opponents that weren't in your division and and did a strength of schedule based off those two teams.
Yeah, so in that case then teams should have been able to technically play both of the next two on your schedule if it lined up that way.
Right.
But that's what I'm asking. Do we know if any of the teams are or if they I haven't looked at it. I don't know. I'm really not sure. Yeah.
I know Florida was going to get Auburn and maybe Alabama was their next like their next two rotating.
Mm.
Or maybe it was Texas A&M.
I have it.
I know like they were mad that they were going to get screwed if they did it that way. They're going to have a tough schedule. But Florida doesn't get screwed and Arkansas does. Arkansas, like, their AD had a comment, and I'll read this to you. So it's Hunter Yurachek.
That guy.
Yeah. He says, "We now own the most challenging schedule in the history of college football."
But really?
Yeah, I'm like, that's true. That sucks.
You already competed for it every year when... Yeah, that's so dumb. So dumb.
Yeah, you're already up there because of your conference opponents anyway, and then you add the top two in the East.
Okay, so Alabama would have been playing Georgia and Florida the next 2 years. So they didn't play their opponents, their next 2 year opponents. Arkansas had Georgia and South Carolina, so they added Georgia.
Wait,
Auburn...
The opponents for...
I'm reading the next 2 years, so 2021 and 2022.
Okay.
2022.
So Alabama is playing Georgia this year.
There we go. Sorry, let me read that again then. Alabama has Florida and Vanderbilt. Okay, so they didn't add any of theirs. Arkansas has Georgia and South Carolina, though. Auburn has South Carolina and Missouri. Who'd they add? Tennessee and who?
South Carolina.
Okay, so they obviously didn't care to add them.
Yep.
Florida has Alabama and A&M.
They had A&M.
So what was the?
What
was that criteria? How was it impossible for Tennessee to add Ole Miss? So now I'm upset because obviously it was random. Apparently, is what they're trying to make it seem.
Yeah,
but it wasn't.
That's not true at all. No,
it wasn't random.
No,
this is dumb.
Yeah, they just protected they protected the contenders. They protected Georgia, Florida, Alabama, and LSU.
Incredibly dumb. Yeah, that's
they want 2 teams in the college football playoff,
but you're not gonna have the college football playoff this year. That's what's dumb.
Right? Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, whatever. Cody Hankins said, "Still think we're not gonna have football this year in college." I'm starting to agree with you, but I think there's a chance that we see the SEC football.
We're still hanging on.
I'm hanging on for
it. Yeah, we're still preparing like there is going to be a season. Until they tell us no, we're still going to be talking about it.
Right.
So.
Absolutely. So let's predict Tennessee's record this year.
Okay.
We don't know. I think a lot of it will depend on how the schedule sets up for me. I'll give you a rough prediction though. I think 6-4 to 7-3. I think Tennessee wins more than 5 games in this schedule.
I think 6-4. I think you have to go 6-4. You have to beat the teams that you've already proven you can beat last year.
You should beat.
Yeah, that you should beat. And then you still win. You have to build on what you did last year. So you have to steal a game that you are not going to be favored in. So is that Texas A&M? Is it Auburn? Is it Florida, Georgia, Alabama? I mean, that you got to steal one of those, at least one of those games.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think you got to be competitive, and you can't get blown out in all. If you lose 4 games, you can't be blown out in them.
No. Golly, man.
Good thing is, Jeremy Pruitt's already done it with a terrible Tennessee team at Auburn. So
yeah, but Auburn could be better than that 18 team though.
Yeah, they
probably
could.
Should be.
Yeah,
you should have Bo Nix.
Yeah,
he's a sophomore now. He had a decent freshman campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Their defense should get
more improved. Going to be good
than we saw in 18. So I think Auburn will be better. A&M. I think they have the talent, but I just don't know. I'm not convinced on them.
And then there's no more talent on A&M or Auburn's roster than there is on Tennessee's roster.
I don't disagree with that at all. I still want to see Tennessee open with Florida. I think that's just an electric. You're probably going to completely change up the schedule and flip the schedule around. Whatever, do it. The things that need to remain the same on Tennessee's schedule, don't care about anybody else in the SEC. The 2 that need to remain the same is Tennessee needs to play Florida on the opening game, and Alabama and Tennessee need to play the 3rd Saturday in October. That's my only requirements.
And I'm not sure how. So we start September 26th, correct?
Yep.
Is when we're supposed to start. So 26. I'm not looking at a calendar. Hold on.
Yeah, pull that up real quick. What are you looking for though?
So I'm looking to see how it would, if it's laid out like I think it might. I'm seeing it if this works out to have. So September 26th, the 3rd, the 10th. 17th. Yeah, that'd be the 3rd Saturday in October. So if they did it like this, and they just had the additional games at the end of the season, so that's your last 2 games. Is those games that are added in?
I'd be surprised if they did that.
I did too, but if they laid it out like that, it would work out where so you'd play Arkansas first, Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama would be your 4th game, but it would be the 3rd Saturday in October on the 17th. Then you have Florida, Kentucky, Missouri, Vanderbilt, and then Auburn, Texas A&M.
I just want Florida opening night. That's it. I want Florida in Neyland opening night.
And this is I'm on FB schedules, and that's how they just have it laid out. I think it's just random, but it would work out if they did it like that.
So that's probably what I saw.
Okay,
that's that. I would guess that because I saw Arkansas and Georgia the first 2 weeks. I didn't look past that because I went and saw that they hadn't released it yet.
So I think they pretty much just. I don't know how they did that, though, because Georgia was at the end of the season, so I don't know how they... I was saying they just took out the non-conference opponents and bunched everything up, but that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it.
It's going to be interesting.
I mean, I would like that. That's not a gauntlet.
I don't think that's a terrible schedule. I was kind of excited to get Georgia later in the year, and I do want Florida I want that to be the opening game. When they first said that, the non-conference games were scheduled, it looked like you were going to play Florida first. I was excited about that. I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be a really, really fun atmosphere. No, I'm not even talking about in the stadium, just the atmosphere around the game.
I want to start off with Vanderbilt. You get a cupcake first game. Just normal as possible, right? That's what we're trying to do. So Vanderbilt first.
That'd just be.
I get what you're saying.
Be a boring way to open a game, man.
I agree.
If we're gonna open 2020, do it with a bang. I don't want to open Western Kentucky.
You don't?
/ Vanderbilt. Trevor said they are canceling the season. I mean, I think they're leaning that way. My real hope is that the NCAA doesn't make an overall decision. They let conferences make it because I think that gives the SEC a better chance. He said he thinks it works out better works out good if Tennessee if the season gets canceled. I guess you're thinking that you got some more help on the way in the next class, and then you don't have as much of a QB controversy probably.
Yeah.
But that means just JG gets to hang around for another year. So he's what, 7th year guy at that point? 6-year guy?
Yeah, he's been here for a while.
There's a bunch of articles that are saying it's not looking good. I think they're gonna. I don't know. Like we said, we talked about it at the beginning of the episode. Make sure when this is done, you can go listen to the recap of all that. But if kids are on campus, you should be playing games. Period.
Yep.
Period.
Yep. I think that makes it tougher. I feel like to, kind of not isolate, but isolate those kids away from getting the virus.
Yeah.
But if you want kind of a bubble-ish, if all the schools were online, I feel like college football could be better off.
Probably, but they're
But if they're able to go in class, they should be able to play a football game.
Yep,
I agree.
So back to Tennessee's record real quick. Both said 6-4, possibly 7-3. So you said?
Yeah, I think 6-4 is what you have to show that your program is still building.
Yeah.
But I think anything less than that is a disappointment, and anything above that is icing on the cake.
Yeah, I agree. Let's do our position preview. Moving into talking about the offensive line. This is because the season should be starting in what, 3 weeks, 2 weeks. See, what would Saturday have been? I need to look at my schedule now, or my calendar. See, Saturday would have been 3 weeks till kickoff, right?
Yep.
If they hadn't moved it back.
Mm-hmm.
So that's but we're almost done with our position preview, and we're gonna have to kind of redo our opponent preview countdown a little bit. We got some people to add.
Yeah, we'll hopefully that schedule's out by Wednesday and we can just start.
Yeah, give us a better idea.
Right.
Yeah. We're going to preview the offensive line, though, this week. And
so it'd be 3 weeks from this Saturday.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So we're going to preview the offensive line. It's second to last next week. Quarterbacks, which I'm surprised we haven't gotten a question about the quarterback. I guess everybody's so concerned about whether the season will actually happen. We haven't even gotten a quarterback question yet. So.
Oh, there's still time. We got plenty of time left in this show for somebody to ask about quarterbacks. I think with this offensive line, it's obviously the talent is there. They should be one of the best in the country.
Yeah.
Oregon's probably up there. Alabama, I think Cole Kublik picked Tennessee to be number 2 in the SEC. And they weren't particularly good last year, but I think with what you're returning, you have guys that played as true freshmen that won't be true freshmen anymore. Hopefully they take a jump. You have a 6th year in Brandon Kennedy at center, and then you add Cade Mays. I think that's the big one. That's if you get him eligible, you have a season. I think the sky's the limit for this group. I think with last year I think they were 12th in rushing.
Mm-hmm.
Rushing yards per game. I think with 144. I think they're second to last in yards per carry, like 4.1. I think Missouri was last with 3.8. But I think your backs are going to be more improved. I think with Eric Gray being just more dynamic, a whole offseason behind him, I think that's going to be huge. And hopefully quarterback play is improved, and I think that just helps this offensive line get to, accomplish the goals of what they want to do.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of your more consistent units that you return. You return all 5 starters. Potentially add another guy that could be a starter to this group. And an all SEC guy that should be a starter to this group. And then you got some young guys behind them that seem to be every bit as competent at those positions too. Obviously, they've got to prove themselves, but this should be your most consistent group. You talked about how I think when you look at this group, not just the starting group, when you look at this entire position group, it gives me hope for how Jeremy Pruitt builds a program, because they went in and addressed the biggest need right off the bat. Where didn't matter how good your quarterback was, didn't matter how good your running back was. If this group wasn't good, those groups weren't going to produce. It unfortunately begins and ends at the offensive line. And they went and addressed it, and you've added bodies to that group, and then you've added a ton of size and talent. And I mean, even building guys that were here. I mean, Brandon Kennedy came in as a guy that, didn't play a whole lot of football at Alabama, transfers in, gets injured, unfortunately, then bounces back and is one of your more consistent offensive linemen.
Yeah, I think it's huge. You talked about the kind of when Jeremy Pruitt got here, that was Tennessee's biggest weakness was offensive line. I mean, you had offensive linemen that we've talked about on the show a billion times that weighed about 270, 260.
An unacceptable weight for a SEC offensive line.
Right, and tackle bodies at that kind of weight. Yeah, it was ridiculous. And now in 3 years, he's had it and it's now one of your team's biggest strengths. And you have 4 former 5-stars on that starting offensive line, and then you have a 6-year guy in Brandon Kennedy who is a 4-star. There's a ton of talent, and there's a ton of depth. You mentioned bodies. Jameer Johnson has started games in his career at Tennessee. Jerome Carvin has. Kayron Calvert has. So you have a ton of depth. You were able to redshirt guys last year, which you haven't done that in forever.
Yep.
You're able to redshirt Jackson Lampley and Chris Akporogane. They hope to be reserves, kind of role players if need be. So yeah, I think there's a ton of talent, ton of depth, and that's what that you said it best. It starts in the trenches.
Yep,
that's where you win football games in the SEC.
Yeah, and to add a little bit more to that, yes, this is probably your biggest strength for this team, which is phenomenal because your probably biggest question mark at the offensive side of the ball is quarterback. I think everybody has faith in Eric Gray and Todd Chandler at that position group. Yep. You're not worried about that. Obviously, there's some question marks about the receiver group, but there's a ton of talent there that While I don't doubt there's at least quite a bit of talent through one guy specifically at quarterback. He's a freshman and playing transition from high school to college ball is a big jump. Not saying it can't be done. There's plenty of freshmen that have done it, but there's also more freshmen who haven't. And then you talk about a 5th-year guy who's struggled.
Yep. For
more than his career than he's been comfortable. So the good news about that offensive line, you give him time, you protect him, does a lot for him. Gives him a lot of confidence potentially, and helps this team a ton. If we play a season, I hate saying that. I feel like I just need to stop. Like just commit to it that we're playing.
Yep.
I think whoever the quarterback is going to have a really, really good chance to be successful with the help of a great running back that could potentially bail them out of situations, and then an offensive line.
Yeah, absolutely. And they were good in protection last year. We talked about Garantano getting beat up. In those first couple of years, he got beat up.
Oh, far.
But last year, this group only gave up 21 sacks in 13 games.
Yeah, last year's the kind of beat up he was getting was far different than the previous 2.
And I think Wanya Moore started 12 games at left tackle, and Darnell Wright started, I think, 7 games at right tackle. So you had 2 true freshmen, playing against some of the best defenses in the country. Great edge rushers, and were able to. They had their ups and downs. They took their lumps over the course of the season, but for them to just come in and play right away, Darnell Wright, I think what put him a little bit behind was Wanya Morris came in as an early enrollee, and then he was able to start more games. I think he was just more prepared to play for the SEC, not just because he's an early enrollee. I think he came from a better program in Grayson, so he's just more prepared. But I think another offseason with those 2 guys, I think Wanya Morris had a surgery, but should be better.
Yeah, I agree.
And they're coming off great freshman seasons.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you don't need them to be drastically better, but obviously you'd like to see gradual improvement at least.
Yeah.
But that group those 2 guys specifically performed pretty well. It would only be icing on the cake if they.
But gotta be better in the rushing attack, and I think that's going to help with just utilizing Eric Gray more.
Yeah.
Adding Cade Mays is huge.
Yeah. Hopefully, and I think everybody expects him to get eligible. I know a lot of people are very nervous since Tennessee waited a while to submit that transfer, that waiver in. We'll see. I said it when that news first came out. The the compliance office hasn't done anything to be like, yeah, they're lazy or stupid or incompetent. So just wait and see and make your judgment if it doesn't happen.
Right.
Because they could have been getting their ducks in a row before they submitted it. Because submitting a form incomplete or not with sufficient evidence or whatever could drag out the issue a lot longer than if you just did it right originally. Maybe you needed some more time. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just guessing by the history that the compliance office has shown. If they get this one wrong, have at them.
Yep.
Have at them. But
yeah, if
let's
the
wait.
NCAA doesn't approve Cade Mays, I mean, there's going to be a lot of doorsteps with some burning bags of poop on some doorsteps.
Do you know where Mark Emmert lives?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I do know.
Are you putting it in a plastic bag, or have you learned to do
No,
a brown bag yet?
It's brown bag.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure. Just making sure. Justin Sanday said, "Is Alabama's head coach going to retire?" I thought I heard that somewhere.
He's a cyborg, so I doubt it.
Unfortunately, no. Maybe you heard that in a dream, because I think I've had a couple dreams about that. But no. And then we're getting a lot of, I hope there's a season. Yeah, I need there to be a football season so bad. I'm just trying to, because the past couple of months, and I know you're getting sports back, and it's been fun to watch the NBA. It's been fun to watch golf. The PGA Championship is going through a phenomenal round right now with a bunch of people chasing that number one spot. Could be a really good playoff happening. But there's just, college football is my favorite sport to watch, period. And specifically college football. I'm sure there'll be an NFL, and I'll watch every second of it that I can, but there's just something about college football, man. Something about Tennessee football specifically.
And MACtion.
And MACtion. Dude, what am we going to do with that Tuesday night MACtion?
I don't know. You got anything else for offensive line?
I don't, unless you just, I feel like the starting lineup group's pretty predictable, but if you want to run through it real quick, we can.
I want to mention some of the other bodies we have. Riley Locklear, he started some games. And then you have, like we mentioned, Jackson Lampley, Chris Akperogene, Ollie Lane is another one. We actually had him on the show.
Yeah, friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod. And then you have incoming freshmen Javonte Spraggins, James Robinson, and Cooper Mays. So kind of interior linemen.
I think there's going to be a lot of I think Cooper Mays, I think there's potential he could end up playing a lot. I think a lot of people are high on him. So I think there's potential there.
Yeah,
I feel like he's probably one of the freshmen you would expect to, or young guys, I should say, expected to see the field a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I think you'll utilize the redshirt rule. I don't know what that looks like with the 10 game schedule, but
it'll certainly depend.
Yeah,
it'll depend on a lot of factors, but
right. Yeah, I think those three guys are probably you're looking at to redshirt.
Well, I think there's a handful of older guys. Not saying that they're not good players or they haven't improved since Jeremy Pruitt and Will Friend, who whatever he was able to do last year completely changed than what he was able to do in the previous year. That have improved, but I think there's also a lot of guys who have hit their ceiling. That now that you're getting these young guys in here, you obviously, maybe not obviously, but you did utilize that red shirt on some guys last year. But I think there's some guys who have hit their ceiling that may get passed up by some younger guys this year. Because like I said, there's a lot more bodies than there were 2 years ago.
Yeah. I think Chris Akperogene would be a perfect example of that. We heard a lot about him like during the spring and stuff during last spring and stuff like that. So, maybe he's a guy that can maybe pass some of those older guys. Not necessarily start, but if there was an injury or something, they could utilize one of those guys.
Yeah, I think the starting lineup's going to be pretty much as expected. If those guys see the field, it'll definitely be in a rotational. So
you think
sense.
Darnell Wright beats out Calvert for right tackle?
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
I do.
I agree with that. But I don't necessarily think like Jerome Carvin and Caron Calvert. Those are two good guys to have.
Yeah. They have experience.
As backups.
They have experience, which helps them, gives them the benefit over the younger guys. But I also think you've probably seen the height of their football. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much of those guys could really improve at this point. But again, the entire offensive line improved last year when it seemed very bleak at that happening.
I think Carvin, he'll be a junior this year. He was just a sophomore last year, but started as a true freshman. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Maybe Carvin's one that could maybe redshirt if Cade Mays and Trey Smith stay healthy throughout the entire year.
That's certainly an option. I think
Something to look
Calibert's
at.
already redshirted.
Right.
Trying to look, yeah. So yeah, it's possible. It's possible, and it's just nice to have a lot more bodies. It's nice to have a lot more options.
Oh yeah.
You're not throwing in you're not starting a walk-on dude who has no business being on a field anymore, like you were in 2016.
Like a former tight end.
You had a Heisman candidate quarterback, and you were starting
Devontae Brooks or Devontae something like that. He was a former tight end in high school.
Doesn't surprise me. I'm shocked 0%.
You had to start him. Yeah, that was rough times. Rough times.
Yeah, so at least you don't have that. I don't think I will be complaining about anybody that's chosen to start in the offensive line, whoever it is.
Right. If you beat one of those guys out, I mean, props
you did it. Yeah, you did it. I don't think there'll be any complaints, like there were a few years ago. The MAC ripping power to the MAC.
Dude, that sucks. Because we talk about like at least getting to watch something. I wouldn't usually tune into the NBA every day. I wouldn't tune into Major League Baseball games that when my team isn't playing. But now I'm doing that because like I guess I took sports for granted.
Makes you think.
Right. So you never know when you're going to get them back. So I'm trying to take it all in as we go. But I feel like MACtion is kind of that same way. It's just like, yeah, I wouldn't choose to watch them on a Saturday over something else.
Right.
But on Tuesday and Thursday nights, that's what you want to do is watch MACtion because it's college football.
It's college football, and it would have been nice this year, especially because across the country you could see a lot of high school football getting canceled. So that would have been something that would have been nice to have. I guess money is going to affect a lot of these smaller conferences. A lot of these smaller conferences, they bank on funding not only their athletic department but their football teams on the paychecks they get for traveling to Power 5 schools.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly, obviously Corona has to do with it, but the exact reasons why the MAC ultimately canceled, because it just felt kind of out of nowhere. Like nobody was really talking about college football, at least for like the last week. You weren't really hearing much of those. It's getting canceled talks. And then Friday night, the MAC just drops that bomb, and now it's since that moment, it's been like, oh crap, it's happening.
Yep. Yeah, I think that the UConn was the first one to kind of do that, and now it's starting to get.
But they were kind of forced to because of their independent,
right?
Their status as an independent,
right? That sucks.
Yeah, I know. The year you go to independent, you're like, yeah, no opponents to play. Great decision here. It was that civil conflict really did them over.
Man, I see.
Apparently when UCF won that civil conflict trophy, they left it on the field. Like they were like given it, and they left it on the field because they didn't care.
Oh my god.
It's just, I don't.
The MACtion, like I'm looking at the standings. Akron went 0-12.
That's pretty bad.
They scored 126 points in the year and allowed 435.
Oh, yikes. They're feeling blessed then.
They are terrible. They only scored 67 points in conference play.
They averaged 10 points per game. They scored half their points in non-conference games? That's pretty impressive because they probably played 2 Power 5 opponents.
Yeah, I don't know.
At least. It's pretty impressive.
Let's look at Akron's schedule.
Yeah,
What else
go to Akron's schedule
do?
real quick. But I also want to know, because all of these, what's frustrating about what's happening right now is how everything's happening so secretively. Like all these people are tweeting, Power 5 athletic directors texting me. Power 5, athletic directors are saying this. What schools are they at? Like who's making those, who's saying that? Are they really talking to their... Because I feel like a lot of the SEC, at least, you haven't heard a whole lot of the SEC even like leaning towards canceling. Pretty much everything you've heard is SEC is at least not canceling right now at the bare minimum.
Right.
So I'm just like, who? And apparently a Power 5 AD said, if you think this feels like the first domino in the line, that's because it is. Are we going to follow suit with everything that the small conferences do? That's what makes no sense to me. So the MAC is now the epitome of college football?
Yes.
Like that, like
on Tuesday and Thursday nights they are.
We think the MAC is getting it. Like I'm just saying you're 100% confident the MAC is getting it right. And the MAC said that they listen to epidemiologists, scientists, like things like people who, doctors, athletic trainers, people who, because apparently I guess this is all, a lot of it had to do with the health of athletes. And they said that's who we listened to on this decision. And I think
they listen to athletes?
No, like athletic directors and
okay.
But like it was all involving like athletes' health.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought they said they asked the athletes. I'm like, no, you didn't.
No, if you did, I can assure you. And I kind of do want to address that in a second too. But they asked the head of the commissioner of the MAC, why are the Power 5 schools not doing that? And he was like, that's a good question. And it's like, that's the thing, is if this was a decision made based on that kind of stuff, you would have canceled a long time ago. So what are you really basing your...
Well, and I don't get them canceling because like you said, like their money is based off, playing Power 5 schools, but would you not try to get any sort of money out of trying to play a schedule?
I don't know how that works, man. That's a good question. I don't know. I have no idea.
I mean, that just seems like that's like a give up button. That's like, hey, I'm losing, pause, restart the game.
I don't know, man. I don't know how. I think the context of the MAC as the first domino to fall is bullcrap. Because they're not making decisions like Power 5 schools make them. They don't have the resources that SEC schools have, that Big Ten schools have. They don't have those resources. So why are you making decisions based on what they do?
I'll tell you what, if Arkansas isn't willing to just be like, no, we're not playing.
Are you kidding me?
After that schedule?
They've already voted for it. They're already like, see ya.
We're good.
We'll wait till 2021.
Yeah. But seriously, like if they're not willing to say no after the schedule they got, why can't you play?
That's a good point. Yeah, that's I believe Sam Pittman has already been like, hey man, we're not gonna play. Just cancel it.
I feel like he's not. I feel like he's
yes sir.
Yeah, I feel like the George, like he doesn't realize he's actually at Arkansas yet. Like he's kind of at Georgia, so he's just like, yeah, we'll play anybody. Until he like sees these people out on the field, and I'm like, man, I'm not at Georgia anymore.
Yeah, he said the Coach O comment that was like, we'll play you at midnight. Just let us know the day before. We'll meet you at midnight in a cornfield.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can say that when you're LSU. When you say that in Arkansas, yikes.
Yeah. Yeah, you might get beat by some of these MAC teams.
Maybe.
You're getting beat by Jim McElwain at Central Michigan.
Akron has scored 50 of their 126 points on you. In Little Rock, or wherever they're Arkansas plays. Doesn't Arkansas play in two different? Don't they have two different stadiums? They like split. They used to like split games between them. I think now they play one game a year in.
Oh, do they play in
War Memorial? But I don't remember where it's at. I have to look it up real quick.
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to look it up.
I know Missouri plays a game in the Chiefs Stadium, I think, every year.
They play
in
Arkansas. Is Arkansas their non-rotating?
Maybe.
So they play in shoot, where's this one at? So Fayetteville is their original one, and then I think they play a game in Little Rock.
Yeah, Arkansas, you're right.
That's War Memorial. So Arkansas is their non-rotating. They play them in Jerry World, don't they? Isn't that their rivalry?
It's in Jerry World.
I thought so. I think
I remember them playing a game in Jerry World, but
I think they play.
I thought it was against Texas A&M.
Is it A&M? Arkansas and A&M?
Yeah, I think that's right.
So Arkansas plays in Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium in Fayetteville, and then they'll also play like a game. I think they used to like split them, but now it's like one game a year at War Memorial. Excuse me. That's in Little Rock. But yeah.
So this doesn't have anything in War Memorial
This year?
Yeah, this year.
Okay. I'm gonna look at the Missouri. Maybe it's the A&M rivalry, but
I feel like that in Jerry's World, it was just like a one-time thing.
Well, he's a big Arkansas donor.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Let me look up their rivalry. Yeah, I don't remember who they. I thought it was Missouri. They played them at Jerry World.
Which I guess, I don't know. I doubt there'll be any neutral site games. Like, I doubt Florida and Georgia would be playing in Jacksonville.
I don't know. Okay, so they do travel around. They don't play. They played in Dallas in 2008. That obviously wasn't. But they play in Kansas City in 2020. They're supposed to play in Kansas City in 2020.
Yeah.
They played in Little Rock last year. Missouri and Arkansas
at?
did at War Memorial.
So whose stadium is that? Like
I think it was like built for
University of.
I think it was built
Little
for
Rock?
Arkansas. No,
Arkansas, Little Rock.
I think it was built for Arkansas. I'm pretty sure.
Weird.
Yeah, I don't hold me to that.
Because I've been to Little Rock and I don't remember seeing any kind of stadium that would hold.
I think it's a good sized stadium. I'll look it up now. I know they used to play a lot of games there. Like it used to be a very common thing. It's not as common anymore.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Hey, little news. So the Max Preps put out a top 50 defensive players that are scheduled to play football in the fall, and Terrence Lewis, linebacker commit, was listed number 3, and then Dylan Brooks, Tennessee commit, is a edge rusher, was number 26.
Oh, nice.
So he's got some studs.
Yeah. The War Memorial holds 54,000. And it is a multipurpose stadium in Little Rock. It is the home stadium for the Arkansas Baptist Buffaloes, Catholic High School Rockets, which is an interesting mascot for a Catholic high school, the Little Rock Rangers, and it is written as the secondary home of the University of Arkansas.
Oh.
And then the Arkansas State Red Wolves have played there in the past. I think that's who you're thinking of. That's in Little Rock.
Oh, Arkansas State. That's in Jonesboro.
Are they in Jonesboro? Okay. Well, they played at War Memorial before. So, yeah, I think they used to play quite a bit of games there, but that's kind of changed to where they don't play that many now.
Oh, I didn't know that. Hey, there's just some Arkansas trivia. Hey, guys, don't forget to type in GBO, and we will pick somebody out in the comments to win a $20 gift certificate to the Volunteer Roadshow store.
Yeah, there's a lot of they're adding stuff to the store, so there's not a lot there yet, but there is. If you need some a mask, a face covering, I guess. They've got some gaiters that they got checkerboard, and they've got Lady Vol logo, and then the Power T logo. They've also got camp chairs.
Yep.
And some shirts and some other things. Go check it out though, and they're make sure you pay attention to. There's gonna be some stuff added here soon. More stuff added, so make sure you're following along. You got that up. VolunteerRoadshow.com.
Yep.
You have anything else for I guess college football? That's all we're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, that sucks. MACtion's gone. I actually look forward to MACtion.
I love some good MACtion.
Yep.
When did it start? Do you know?
I don't.
I don't. I have no clue.
Yep.
Segments.
You got any more questions? Anybody have any questions?
I havenn't seen any questions yet.
If you got any
them,
questions?
ask away. Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry.
You're good.
You say it.
If you got them, drop them. Also, little breaking news. Also, did you see where Bryce Thompson is wearing number 0?
I love it. Okay, I take it back. I like it. I needed it to be in like a defensive tackle. I needed like a 315-pound defensive. I needed Elijah Simmons wearing it because it's just funny because it looks so small.
Yeah, it is, and it's round.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it would have been fantastic.
But I would like the secondary to be, if Trayvon Flowers is number 1, I don't know what Jalen McCullough would wear, but if they could get all 4 starters to be like 0, 1, 2, 3, that'd be cool. I wouldn't hate that.
No, not at all. Not at all. Most important of the week.
Most important. Oh, did you see the Grizz and the Jazz throwback jersey matchup?
Yes, it looked fantastic.
Oh
dude.
man, dude.
Also, I looked up A&M and Arkansas do play their rivalry at AT&T Field, Jerry World.
Oh, do they?
Dude, the Grizzlies jerseys are amazing.
Oh,
Toronto's obviously are good too, but the Grizzlies are fantastic.
Oh, so Toronto was today. The Jazz, they're the ones that have like the mountains.
Yeah.
No, that's not right. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I bet they do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they have the
they do.
mountains. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, the Raptors are really good, cool too. They have the white ones, so I really like the purple ones, but they also have the. Okay, so this is what the Jazz looks like.
Yeah, those look good.
Yep.
I've got one kind of similar to you, that Max Preps thing you mentioned. ESPN, they released their 2021 NBA mock draft, and Tennessee freshmen Keon Johnson and Jaden Springer are both ranked in the top 30 of the 2021 NBA draft. So
don't like that.
Potential to have potential to have two first round draft picks next year if everything kind of goes as planned.
Oh, I will say this: if they are getting drafted that high, they had a good season. So
we're happy.
Yeah,
we Tennessee got what they needed.
So I have a question, and Cody Conrad tweeted this out today. So let me read it. I don't want to mess it up. He said, "Would you sacrifice the college football season right now if it meant the basketballs are guaranteed to make the Final Four in the spring?"
Not a chance.
I wouldn't either. But I thought that's interesting. So what would you do it for a championship?
In basketball?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
You would?
Yeah.
Just this season. I mean,
Just this season.
yeah, it's already gonna be weird anyway. So.
I would sacrifice this season for a championship in football in 2021.
Oh yeah.
Cancel it right now.
Yeah.
I would if Final Four, that'd be fun, but you don't win it, so I don't care. That was the question, right? Final Four?
Yeah.
Okay. But if you said like college football playoff in 2022, technically, I'll be all in.
Final Four, and you don't know the outcome.
Oh, so you could win it.
You could win it.
That makes it tough.
Yeah. He didn't put that in there, but
you're adding it in. I think it makes it more interesting.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Do we win the SEC?
You take one of them, regular season or
okay. So
tournament.
we win something.
One
so we hung a banner.
Yeah.
Final Four, another banner.
You get an Elite 8 banner, don't you? Well, Final Four is its own banner.
Yeah.
Elite 8 is just like a sticker on a banner.
Right.
That's tough.
It is tough.
To not know the outcome, that means you're 2 games away from winning it all. I think with it being a 10-game SEC schedule, I think I'll take the Final Four.
I would like to see us play one game, and then we could go back and just cancel the rest of it.
So play Florida opening night, and then you decide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I like that question. That's a good question.
Yep. So he tweeted out. He wasn't asking us, but I thought I would mention it. So
yeah, it's fun. I like that question a lot. So football. Would you cancel this season for next season? Spin off of that question. Going to the college football playoff, you don't know the outcome. Cancel the season for a
college football playoff? Yeah, probably.
I probably would too.
If I could, so if they could guarantee me a national championship in 2024, it's a long time from now. I would cancel this season.
That's a long wait.
It is a long wait, but hey, we're gonna get there somehow. So like every year I could be just wait. You're gonna see. You're gonna find out.
But in fairness, like you said, you're eventually gonna win. But you're just that classic Tennessee fan that's like, next year.
Yeah, it's our year. Then when it actually is next year,
that year is gonna be fun.
Oh yeah. I'll just start saving up money for that year.
We can't be good at basketball and football at the same time. I'd spend way too much money.
Yeah, I think we definitely sacrifice basketball over football, 100%.
I would, but how much fun would that be to be good at both? What's it like?
Who is I guess Auburn's.
The last time though a team was like dominant at both was Florida in like 08.
Yeah.
09, whatever year they went back to back in basketball.
Yeah.
08, 09, I think. 07, 08.
It would be tough. It would be tough to dominate both.
Yeah.
Because Florida. That's the only one I can really think of off the top of my head.
There's been a couple in history. I don't think a lot in history that have simultaneously won the national championship in football and basketball. But there's been a couple that have in history.
Yeah, I'm thinking who's been good.
I'd say Auburn's probably one of the better teams in the country that's had a good football and good basketball team
Recently.
I feel like you could probably technically throw Kentucky in there. They did win 10 games in 2018, and then obviously their basketball program. North Carolina's moving up through there. Duke has had decently good football teams, and then obviously their basketball team.
Not Kansas.
Ohio State. A couple years ago, not so much now.
Yeah, like
that's Florida. Florida hadn't had a great basketball team in like 2013 when Billy Donovan left.
Right. Yeah.
You could have thrown Texas in there when Rick Barnes was there.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. Yep.
You could have probably thrown UCLA in there in the early 2000s. Talking about recent history.
I wonder if USC maybe has been.
I don't remember them ever being a good basketball team.
Oregon's been pretty decent in basketball.
Yeah,
and pretty.
I don't think they've won anything significant though. Like even like Pac-12.
They're in the Final Four.
Were they? How long ago?
When North Carolina won the whole thing.
Oh, okay. I was about to say when North Carolina got beat by Villanova.
No.
I was watching that video the other day. That's got to be the wildest ending in.
Oh yeah.
One of the more wild endings of any basketball game.
Yeah, I could imagine being on the court and being on the opposite end of it where you just get beat by that.
Was that the year that the Villanova had that girl in the band? Was it Villanova?
I don't remember the girl in the band.
She was like.
I'm just thinking of Tennessee as the one that's.
No, it wasn't because she cried when they lost. So it wasn't that year. Villanova lost, and the girl started crying. Is what it was. Who did they play? And what year was that? 2015. I'm trying to see who they lost to. Yeah, but I thought it was like that. I thought she was like.
Wisconsin's been pretty good.
Yeah, you could use Wisconsin for sure. They lost to NC State that year. And she was playing at the end of the show and crying for the camera.
Gosh.
I wonder if that Tennessee, that girl in the pet band at Tennessee, I wonder if she's still there.
Hopefully. She's electric. I need to keep her around. Even if she like is out of, it's like she's not even in college, she can just come and do that.
Be that role. That's it.
Yeah.
I'd love that.
Because that's like a mascot. Yeah, you can pay her
Exactly.
just like a mascot stipend or whatever you do. I don't even know what they get. They get money for. They get paid for that, or is it just like an elective kind of? Like
I think mascots. I think you can get partial scholarships. You're part of the cheer squad. I think
okay,
so.
it's part of the spirit squad.
Yeah.
Or,
Spirit squad. Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe so. Don't hold me to that or anything, but I think so. You got any more most important? I don't think I do.
Yeah. So back to high school. Knoxville Catholic's gonna play the Texas private school, coached by Deion Sanders.
Interesting. This year?
Yeah.
How'd that happen? They lose some. They lose a Nashville school or something?
Yeah, but it'll be August 29th. Is when they'll play. I'm trying to look up what that high school
who's
is.
going where? Are they meeting somewhere?
I had just a screenshot. I didn't have the actual article.
Gotcha. Interesting. When did they announce that? I can't believe I didn't see that.
I think it was like last week. Or this week, this past week.
Yeah.
So Trinity Christian, it's in Cedar Hills. So Shadur Sanders, which is a 4-star quarterback, will be the quarterback, and then obviously Caden Martin will be the quarterback for Knoxville Catholic. So yeah, that's cool. I'm trying to.
Yeah, I'm seeing where they're going.
We'll play. It doesn't say which one. We'll host. So they're coming here.
Nice. That'll be cool.
Yeah, so I wonder how much those tickets will be. Hopefully it's on TV. That'd be cool.
If not, WNML does their games every week, so
Okay.
it'll at least be on the radio. But I think Catholic also has I think they live stream their games.
Oh, is it
They have their
something separate?
own program.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they live stream their games, so it'll be on.
Something.
It'll be available to watch.
Or is it gonna be like one of those ESPN like Tennessee versus
Could also be like
Texas
that.
or something like
Could also be that.
That'd be cool.
Definitely could be. I don't have any more most important. That was my only one.
I think I don't have any more. Oh, I do. Katie Ledecky. So the swimmer for USA. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Oh, the milk.
Yeah.
Got
So
it.
she
Yeah.
swims all the way across the pool. I think down and back, or maybe just down. And put a glass of milk on her head and didn't spill a single bit of it.
I don't understand how it's possible.
I don't either. I couldn't even. I don't even think I could put it on my head and just literally like just tread water.
I think that I don't know what would be more difficult because you're like kind of bouncing when you tread water.
Yeah.
Both are probably equally difficult.
I don't know if I could get in the pool.
I don't think I could
Without spilling.
stand with a glass of milk on my head. Just stand with a glass of milk on my
Yeah.
head. So yeah, definitely. I don't think it's possible for me. What was it? I don't know. You got a fail of the week?
I do. So, the Nationals grounds crew. Do you see them trying to get the tarp on? First of all,
It was so bad I was confused. I was
Yeah.
like, what are they
I
trying
was like,
to put the tarp on?
how did they like fold that? It's not hard. It's literally just you roll it.
Yeah, I don't understand how it got folded initially. And then did you see him trying to get like the cover, like the sponsor cover, I guess I don't know what it's called. They have logos on it. The cover off the tarp. They were struggling to do that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and the field's just getting freaking destroyed as they're doing this.
It always does crack me up where baseball, like they know they're not going to play when the rain comes heavy. They know they're going to stop it, but they won't cancel until the rain starts coming heavy. So it's like it's too late to like get anything done efficiently
Right,
and well.
yeah.
It cracks me up.
Yeah, it's already wet. Do you have any?
I've got a fail. Kevin Durant. I don't know if he forgot to use his burner, but apparently he was going and liking this girl's pictures on Twitter and following her. And some girl, I think it was a girl, was very upset about this. It might have been a guy. I don't know what their relationship was. Was very upset that Kevin Durant was liking his or her girl's Twitter pictures. And he was in an argument on Twitter with someone that had like 300 followers. Just like,
And
yeah.
it wasn't his burner account.
Was not his burner account. I guess he forgot to log into his burner to go and like all these pictures. Yeah, it's very confusing. I'm
That's
like,
interesting.
I mean, to be fair, man, what else do you do in the bubble besides get on Twitter and like random girls' pictures? I don't know.
I guess that's all you can do.
I don't know, man.
I don't hate him for it. I don't know. Do you shoot your shot? Like,
Sounds like he's not her type, from everything I gathered on Twitter.
oh,
Yeah, sounds like he is the wrong gender.
gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha. Well, that's
I don't know if that's true. I'm trying to use context clues, and I don't know.
gotcha.
I don't think I have any more fails.
Well, good luck, Kevin.
Oh yeah. Good luck. Was he gonna invite her to the bubble?
Maybe.
I can't believe that bubble has not had like a serious outbreak yet. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's insane. They're doing it right, apparently.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Kudos. Man, I thought I had some more, but I don't. Flip through my phone. Other than I guess Justin Thomas. If you haven't heard it, look it up. He a hot mic right next to the green catches his immediate feelings on a putt.
Yep. A little F-bomb in there. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it.
Somebody, I think Colin Cowherd put out something, I don't really agree with a lot of what Colin Cowherd puts out, but he was just like, everybody does it. It was like, you can't be mad when you mic up a player
No.
and that stuff happens.
You can't be shocked at all. You can't be shocked. No way you can. You got anything else?
That's all I got.
Guys, always appreciate you all for listening.
Do we have
Giveaway.
any GBOs?
We have any? I didn't see any.
I didn't
Nobody
see any
wanted
either.
it, man.
I guess nobody did. Hey, that's fine.
Roll
We'll
it
keep
over. Little skins game. Roll it over for next week.
Yeah.
We'll do it next week. So so here's a couple things for our next episode, not next week. Next Wednesday, or this Wednesday, excuse me. That's August 12th. August 12th. We'll be taking phone calls. So make sure you, if you want to come in and talk sports on the show, or talk about anything, because there's not many sports, unfortunately. But talk about whatever. We will have the phone lines open on Wednesday, and we're also going to be doing a giveaway for a $20 gift card to Hound Dogs. Or sorry, not Hound Dogs.
Yeah, the
Volunteer
Roadshow
Roadshow store, because that's got the store up and running.
Yeah.
So make sure on Wednesday you come in to the show, type in whatever we tell you to type in the chat bar, and you'll be entered to win a draw. You'll be entered to win that gift card, and then we'll also have the phone lines open, and we'll talk about whatever.
Yeah, just come hang out with us. We enjoy the social interaction. We're missing that.
Yeah.
Not being able to go to work and stuff like that. So hit us up.
Yeah, do it for sure.
That's all we got. We're bringing the boat in, and we out.